Hello, welcome back to the Happy Baby Show. This is episode 103. I've titled this episode Put Down the Parenting Book. This episode is dedicated to teaching you my thoughts around parenting books, parenting programs, all of the things. So let's dive in. Before I start, I want to tell you a little bit of a story. This is my experience and a little bit of a, transport in time. We're going back in time to 2015 when I became a mum. Now, I had this little boy. I was a maternal and child health nurse. I had some great foundational knowledge. However, I wouldn't say I had a great idea about baby and toddler sleep. So I wanted to know, I had this little boy, right, we'd only ever get about a 3 hour block overnight. It was about 30, 40-minute naps every day. And needless to say, if you have been in this situation, it is physically exhausting. You are so exhausted. You are also emotionally drained. It just feels like you constantly spend your days settling, resettling, and then you're up all night. And yeah, if you know, you know. So I wanted answers. I needed to get this little boy having more than 3 hours sleep for my own mental health. For his sake, he was exhausted as well, and it was just not a beautiful parenting experience. So off I toddled to Big W and I walked up to the parenting section and I selected a couple of pretty popular parenting sleep books. Now, these two books, I'm going to talk about them individually. I won't say their names, but book one, it was arguably the most confusing yet rigid book I'd ever read. It was about 500 pages long. It was so detailed, and that might seem like it's a good thing, but it was so confusing, and some of the rules in it was just, so precise. So it was things like, that you had to have this exact sleep time, like it had to be this exact sleep time. And it was about the food. When you had food, it needed to be this perfect mix of protein, carb, and fat. And, these precise feeding times and all of the things. And it was honestly so impossible to follow. And of course, it didn't actually take into any account my unique situation, me, how I was feeling, and not to mention my unique little baby boy, which, I'm going to do a podcast episode on all of the reasons why it's not just about sleep. So stay tuned for that one. But book two was worse. Well, I thought it was worse too. The routines were, from especially what I understand now about normal developmental sleep for babies' ages and the averages and all of those things, it was just ridiculous in terms of the times I was meant to keep my baby boy awake for. And so I was trying to follow these, and again, it was that rigid routine where you had to stick to these times or else, the world ended, apparently. And then when it came to the self-settling part, I was just done because basically, you can sugarcoat it all you like, but it was basically just let them cry it out. It wasn't anything to do with learning how to be responsive and learning to understand what exactly my baby was trying to tell me. Now, quick disclaimer, some parenting books are wonderful, but the ones that are written by experts who actually have knowledge on normal baby health, development, feeding, and sleep, they're the ones where their books are excellent because they've actually got that foundational knowledge, that expert skills, knowledge, all of the things. So they're the books that I definitely gravitate towards. And funnily enough, it's actually been a lot of my midwifery and, maternal and child health textbooks that I have drawn upon over the years because, that is literally based on evidence. But what I want to let you know, the thing with these books or sleep programs or feeding programs or whatever it is for some families, they're only going to take you so far. So with that, what I want to teach you is my 4 tips on what to consider when you're looking at a baby's sleep, feeding, health, or development program. The first one, choose your parenting books or programs very wisely because what they need to do is align with your parenting values and philosophy. Now, if you don't really know what your parenting values and philosophy are, I want you to actually take some time to sit in silence if you can and just have a think about what you stand for. And perhaps you'll know because things you've read has either made you go, what? Or sometimes you'll just be like vibing with a person and you'll be like, yeah, this is the sort of information that hits me deep. That's what you want to make sure that you are learning from, who you're learning from. Because if it's from someone who doesn't hit those values and philosophies, then, well, you're simply not going to follow the information because you're just going to do what I did. And I probably back then in 2015 hadn't really sat down and thought about what I stood for as a parent and what my values were. But I soon learned that those books certainly did not align with that. The second thing I want you to do is check their credentials before you start blindly following their advice. Now, this could be someone you're following on Instagram. This could be a book you're following. This could be a program you're about to dive into. What's their background? What have they done to learn about baby and toddler health, feeding, sleep, or development? Because in the world, especially in the world of sleep, it isn't a highly regulated industry, and it doesn't take a lot for someone to be able to become a sleep consultant. And, the things that you want to be looking for is the level of education that they've had and the level of experience that they've had. Simply being a mum yourself isn't enough to be able to say that you can confidently help your baby sleep or whatever that is. So that is definitely a consideration that you want to look into as well. So be aware, the third one is to be aware that parenting books and programs are advice of a general nature. So when we are creating programs, and obviously I have a lot of programs that I'm going to talk about myself as well, that I teach in and everything. These are all based on averages and all of the things that are that base level knowledge that you need to understand for the average baby and toddler. Parenting books, again, will be working on these averages and then not taking into account unique family situations. And that's just the nature of it, is you've got to start somewhere with this knowledge. You've got to have, and if you've got an average baby, and I don't mean an average baby like my baby's just average. They're excellent and they're wonderful. But if everything's cruising along pretty normally and all of those sorts of things, then these can be really, really useful. But just bear in mind that despite the quote unquote average baby, there's always going to be twists and turns and challenges that are unique to your baby and your toddler. The fourth thing I want to talk about is, can you access closer support if you need it? So with a lot of parenting books, you can't, because they're written by authors that potentially don't have access to one-on-one support if you want to take what you have learned further. Now, this is where I wanted to talk about my very own programs that I've created, because for some of the members of my online programs, the Baby and Toddler Routine Bundle, the Sound Sleeper, the Happy Baby Code program or membership, they're going to still require one-on-one support. It doesn't completely eliminate the need for one-on-one support, even when you have access to programs, because there's going to be times when you just don't have that ability to see that bigger picture and be able to pinpoint what it is that might be leading to your sleep problems or your feeding problems. And that's where someone like myself can have that overarching, we've got that expert background that we can look at things and be able to help you decipher what's going on for your baby and toddler. It helps to take the guesswork for you and hone in on what we can see as the issue, and how, of course, you can then have a program that's tailored to your needs. Now, this leads me to day 2 of your Mother's Day giveaway. So yesterday I was giving away a spot inside the Baby and Toddler Routine Bundle, which is your go-to if you want a more done-for-you look into cultivating a calm and consistent nap routine and understanding how to troubleshoot, because I talk about it a lot. Our babies aren't robots. Our toddlers aren't robots. It's cool to have routine, but what's even cooler is knowing how to make it work for you. So that was yesterday's giveaway. Day 2, I'm going to be giving away a free email consult to one of the lucky listeners or whoever has entered the giveaway over on my Instagram. So you can enter if you're listening live, if you're listening during this week before Mother's Day in 2022, you too can go in the draw to win one of my Happy Baby email consults, which is everything that you require from what I just spoke about, that deep dive into your baby and toddler's feeding, sleep, health, and development by me, so I can help you decipher all of the things and give you a unique and tailored plan so that you know exactly what you need to do to support your baby to better feeding or sleep or health or development, or ideally all of the above. So if you want to enter the giveaway, then head to jenniferbutler.online/giveaway. All of the winners are going to be announced on Mother's Day, which is Sunday, 8th of May, 2022. So all of the winners for the giveaway this 5 days are going to be announced that day. If you happen to be listening outside of the giveaway period, you can always still come along and book in a email consult with yours truly. To do so, you head to jenniferbutler.online/happy baby email consult, where you can learn more. And of course, you can always slide on over to my DMs at Jen Butler Early Parenting if you have any questions about whether it's the right fit for you, or if I can help you to decide on what support you and your family need. So thank you so much for joining me in today's episode, and I cannot wait to dive into tomorrow's episode, because we're going to be talking about the iceberg analogy. We're going to be talking about what's really getting in the way of a good night's sleep. And little hint, it's got so much more to do with that elusive self-settling. Our babies and toddlers are a lot more complex, and sleep is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to talk about that more tomorrow.